again for this. Welcome to all of you for this second session for this R workshop, which is planned for those who don't have any prior experience with the R. So we are trying to build up some experience for all of you that you can start playing with the R. And of course, as I mentioned to you last time, once you get some hands-on with R, and then via internet, you can find hundreds of different websites where there is a lot of clear instruction, lot of scripts are available, and you can clearly follow them. So that's why the plan of this workshop was to just give you some early instruction how to play with the R or how to do small coding and stuff like that. And thereafter you can of course choose the website, choose the program and packages depending on your requirement, depending on the field where you are working on. So as I mentioned, I don't really have any presentation for today. Rather, the plan is maybe you have read by this you may have read this by shared document, I believe. I'm just sharing it again. I'm just sharing this document again by chat box. You can read the plan here. So from the response, what I see that still many of you are still repeating the script number 3. So those who are repeating or those who haven't finished the script number 3, make sure that you finish that one. And then at 5:15, I'm going to share you the new script where you can work by yourself. So that is what I'm going to share at 5:15, like in 15 minutes from now. So I suggest you keep continue working on this script number 3, and then I will share script number 4, and then I will give you 1 hour to finish script number 4, and then I will share the script number 5 at 6 o'clock. The reason is because some students can finish it in advance, but some are actually very much in the in the very beginning stage for this R. So they are not able to finish that along with other students. So that's why I don't want to share all the script all together. So I will share one by one so that I can feel that everyone is almost at the same stage. Okay, so now I'm open for the question. And as I said, continue with your script number 3, and then at 5:15 we'll start with the next script. Meanwhile, those of you who may have any question for me, I got some email from some of you previously, but now some of the question are also relevant for all the class, so we can discuss here. Anyone, something or any kind of question you didn't understand, or something else you want to ask me related to the R, I'm available for 15 minutes now.
Doctor, if no one has a question for now, I have just a comment, Doctor.
Yeah,
Is it possible if we work through this as a group, like the scripts? So, as you said before, we can easily just type the command and it will do it for us automatically. But we need to understand what commands that we are actually putting and what do they mean.
yeah,
Like,
that is what
yeah,
exactly, that is what my idea is, that it's not just running the script. Everyone can run the script in 30 or 40 seconds. It's just select all the text and run, press the run button, all the script will run. The
exactly.
idea is that you should understand why you are following this particular command and what this command is doing. And for that, either you have to read all the text which I have provided to you, because now we are virtual, right? If
Yes.
we are like on the face to face mode, I can clearly come to you and I can look at your screen and I can give you some explanation.
Mhm.
Right now I don't have access to your desktop, I don't have any access to your R script where you are and so on, so I cannot give you a direct feedback. But if you have any question, you are welcome to ask me now. So that's why I created this 15-minute mainly for question answer session. So
Yeah,
those
yeah,
who are,
yeah, please. Go
yeah,
ahead.
those who are completing, they continue, and those who have a question, they can discuss me any question related to the previous script.
What I mean is that it's clear that the instruction in the script is clear, but sometimes like we are doing a command, but we don't know exactly what is meant from
Yeah.
the text.
So
Like,
so
yeah.
that is what you need to ask me now. So if you have any question, any such question, you can ask me now. It's no problem for me. We can discuss even now. We have 15 minutes still.
Okay.
So you just let me know. I will try to answer.
Okay, I will pick the most important ones and I will.
Sure. And maybe like the same question, what you are asking, maybe the same question is for someone else as well.
Of course, yes. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
And don't be shy in asking the question. It's my recommendation to all of you. Don't be shy in asking the question. More the question you are going to ask, more you are going to learn. Either you can ask to me, or of course you are welcome to ask to the internet or to Google. They can also help you with all these small questions. And there is hundreds of YouTube video. You can also follow that for more learning. Maybe you can find some more, straight away some good video relevant to yourself.
But Professor,
Yeah.
my name is Laya.
Yeah,
Based
Laya.
on what Ali was saying, I would suggest, why don't you go through the script at the same time that we follow the same script on our screens, and then you can explain, everything step by step. I think it's what Ali was trying to suggest.
Yes. Actually, that is my plan for today. But the only reason is, in that way, things will be very slow. We will not be able to finish many of the plan script. That is my point only, because that's the way things will be really very slow moving. So we only have one more session, and I don't think we'll manage to finish all the script which I planned for this course, because right now we are in the very early stage of the hour. And now, like today, we are going to do some data manipulation, and then we are going to move for the graphics, right? I try to make them self-explanatory. You can read the text because I know it's virtual. Otherwise, if we are face to face, I can play, as you mentioned, like I can run through the R script and you can follow me simultaneously. I can do that today. Anyway, I will. That is my plan. But in that case, I need to get the response from each of you. I felt like last time some people have finished earlier and some took really long time. So I need that everyone should be on the same stage. If you want to follow me, I can do that way as well. But everyone should be ready for following me at the same time.
Please, everyone, if you think this is a good idea, please let us know so we can go ahead. Or
yeah, I can share my R script and we can go one by one together.
I think that would be a really great idea.
Yeah, perfect. I will do that. But anyway, the first three scripts are really very basic, where actually just some preliminary functions are given. But today we are going to enter little complicated scripts. We are going to do a lot of plottings today. So you might need some explanation. I agree to that. But the previous part, I thought like it's more like a very general description. So it's easier that you can read by yourself. Okay, so I will do that. Like you can follow me with my R script. I will be doing here and you will be doing on your own laptop. Okay, any other question? And one thing I realized that I'm still lacking the response from all of you via this Excel sheet. It's very important for me that you all give me response so that I understand where you are, where you stuck or something like that. This gives me an idea that, okay, you finished all those scripts, or those who haven't finished the script before. Any other question? So are you able to see my R Studio window?
Yes, doctor.
Very good. So then I will be sharing things from here. Okay, and then what I suggest, the data which I shared you last time, it's again, I already mentioned, I hope you are following my emails as well, that it's very important that you read the context of the data. If you don't read the context of the data, again, it will be very difficult for me to explain the context of the data, that how this data is being generated, what this different variable means, and how they are represented in the file. So I hope you have been reading this metadata description, as well as you have also looked at the metadata by yourself. Okay, so now I will be sharing the script with all of you. And meanwhile, those who haven't read the metadata description, I still suggest read that. Otherwise, it will be difficult for all of you to understand where we are speaking in the class. If there is no question from the script number 3, I'm going to close it now. Is there any question related to script number 3 yet? Okay, it seems no question, then I can close it. Okay, I hope you have received one of my new email. I just send one email to all of you.
I received it.
Perfect. So the idea is that you should keep this script exactly in the same folder where you have your data. Of course, you can keep it different places in later on, but you need to define the path otherwise. So right now it's easier that you keep all this thing together, so you won't receive any error. Because the place where you start your R script, that is by default your working path. Clear? So the place where you are starting your R script, that is your working path. So everything, whatever you are exporting from your R, it will be actually saved in the same folder where you are starting your script.
Dr. Sunair?
Yes.
I don't understand the objective behind the script 3. So it's all about sorting data, isn't it? Like I would use Excel. It's much easier.
Yes, you can use Excel, for example, but you know, when you have thousands of rows, thousands of columns, then of course you won't like to work with Excel. Excel is going to, stop, because Excel cannot handle a lot of data, first of all. And it's just like, some preliminary function. And now we are building up, right? So I just started with very simple description. Like when you learn some languages, we don't start directly from the advanced function. We start slowly. So we are just entering into the small function. And now we are actually going to create some complicated function from now onwards. Okay, I hope now it's already 5:15 as we decided. So hope everyone is ready with their R script number 4 on their R Studio. Is there someone who is not there yet? Is there someone who is not there yet? Okay, so I hope everyone is there, because I don't see any response from anyone, and that's why I don't know where you all are right now. But anyway, then I will continue myself. So first of all, read the line number 1 to 12. Script number 4, line 1 to 12, which I highlighted already. Read them. So basically what we are doing now, as last time I think someone was mentioning that we normally try to import our data from Excel file, from Word, from a table tab separated file, or from CSV file, and that is what we are going to do here. You already received a metadata file, which means you already generated your data, and all the data is stored on your Excel or CSV file, that is comma separated file. From Excel, you can always export a comma separated file by yourself, right? Like you normally export as a TXT. Likewise, you can also export CSV. So now if you just run this command, like the first command called DAT and then read dot table, right? Everyone is here now. So basically this command, what it is doing, it is trying to read your data. So now your data is being read by the R, and you can actually import any kind of format. You can import Excel, you can import CSV, TXT, or date file, or many other format you can import directly with R. So that is one of the good part with R, that any kind of format you can use it here. Very important thing, Excel doesn't like spaces. It doesn't like point in the sense comma, sorry, not point, comma. Excel doesn't like comma in the data table. Excel doesn't like space. So make sure that your table is mostly free from the space, free from the comma. And whenever you are giving the heading or legend or label for your vector, make sure that you give a continuous label. Like you can use underscore instead of the space. Now what we are doing, we are just trying to look at our data. So I just write DAT, and you see on the console on this side that data is being shown here, that how this data look like. So here I have ID in the first column, then age, then sex, then marital, then children, and so on. Third command is interesting. So if you just press structure, actually just go back on top. Here it shows that this data frame contains 435 observation and 67 variables, which means 67 column and 435 raw. These are observation. So in the raw you have different observation, and on the column you have different variables. And another interesting thing, you should always remember how this data look like. So here, for example, for the ID, it gives like as an integer value. For the sex, it gives like a character. For marital, again, it's character. And then for smoke number, it gives like integer value. And this is very important to understand, because the based on how your data is here, based on that, you can decide your analysis later on. Because for example, if you have a factor or if you have a character, you cannot do a linear regression with the character. For the character, you need two variable where they have a numerical variable or integer data. Any questions so far?
Sir, can you share the data survey.csv, the file also, so as to...
Al Ramjana, I already shared the file with all of you. You should check your email. I shared it already yesterday, and I told that you all have to read the metadata description.
Oh, okay, sir.
Just check your email. It's already been shared yesterday. And why I shared yesterday, because I was expecting that all of you are going to read the metadata description. Because without description, again, I can move further, but it will not make any sense to any of you if you don't know about the data description, that how this metadata is generated and what is the type of this variable is. Okay, everyone is at line number 46 now. Seems quite very quiet in the room now. I'm
I
trying
think
to
everybody is replying in the chat.
don't reply in the chat because I can't see in the chat. That's the problem. I just want you can speak because I don't see chat boxes because I already have 3-4 windows open at the moment. So anyone who have a question, just turn on microphone. It's much easier for me to answer. Okay, I hope everyone is here now on just a moment. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are just trying to inspect our data, and it's very important. Whenever you are uploading your file, try to inspect your data, that how this data look like, whether your data is properly imported in R or not. Check the number of column, number of the row. So once you verify that your data is properly imported, then you should move further. Basically here we are just saying that, okay, because sometimes if you have a like big data set, you can have 100,000 raw in your Excel data or in your CSV data, right? But then if you wanted to visualize all these data, again R is going to slow down if your laptop doesn't have proper speed. That's why you can limit how much raw or how much data you want to plot. So you can change this option later on by yourself. So now basically I use maximum capacity and I can see all the data is being shown, all the 435 variable I can see here. Okay, so read few more lines and then I will move for line number 67. Any questions so far?
It's clear.
Again, as I mentioned to you last time, like if you anytime if you need more detailed description of any of the function, then you just either can press F1 or you can press question mark and put enter, or you can just go to the help, or you can just Google directly onto the internet. You will get a lot of help related to the variable. So now basically here is the way how you can inspect your data in multiple format. Like as I mentioned, structure, we should always check this one. Then head, actually in this way you are actually only plotting the top 6 row. So that's why head, that means top 6 row. And if I just mention head dat is actually the name of variable where your data is stored. You remember in the first command we imported our data table into this variable called dat. That's why I'm referring dat everywhere now. So now head 10 means 10 top 10 row. Tail, which means if you want to just inspect the bottom data from like last 6 row. Now I'm just checking how many column I have in my data, how many row I have in my data, the dimension. Then it's very important to check the variable name. Like I have 67 variable in this data: ID, age, sex, marital, children, education, source, smoke, and smoke number, and so on. And then this is summary. So you can always check the range of your data by just clicking at the summary. So someone was asking me that we can do similar thing in Excel. Of course you can do, but not with like one click. You have to select a range of data. you have, if for example, if I just want to calculate mean, I have to select all these data manually. If I have to select standard deviation, again, I have to select and so on. And it takes a lot of time. But here is just like one click, one command, and your answer is there. So I feel it's much more faster, at least even for the basic function. Of course, in Excel, you have limitation. We can't do advanced function, but with R, you can do multiple advanced function as well.
I have one question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
In some other statistical programs, such as SPSS, you can change well, not the name of the variable, but you can include like a description to help you know what that variable is. Is that something that can be done on R? Because I saw that some of your variables are really short. So for somebody else to know what those variables are, and it
Yes.
just, that person only has the script.
Yeah, first of all, each researcher, when they collect their own variable, they are fully aware about their own variable, right? And in this course, I already shared a PDF file. Have you looked at the PDF file?
Yes, but I mean,
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
said
so-
before that sometimes you need to send the script for when you want to publish something, you need to send the script. So is there a way
Yeah.
that the person
So
who's reading the script can know
Very good.
what?
Very good. I got your point. So basically, you can always put hashtag and you write whatever you want to write after the hashtag. It is not a command. It is just an instruction for you or someone else who want to read your script.
Okay, thank you.
So you see that all the time, all these texts which are in like almost in like you can say greenish color, I always put a hashtag. And after hashtag, you can write whatever you want. R will never give you any error because hashtag is actually indication that it is not really a function. It is just a text for the user information.
But we cannot assign it to the string, or if it's an interval, we cannot assign it to the data. It's only we can write it here as a note.
No, you can't assign that. Actually, you should be aware by yourself, or at least you should have your PDF or some instruction file ready. For example, if I need to share my script, so I share my script on public domain, then I make my instruction like data instruction because it's long table, long file. I cannot put everything in R here. So I always make a data table or PDF file where I put all the instruction about the data, like what this data represent and so on. Of course, many information is already given in the publication, but then I always make one extra data file or extra file related to the data, that what does this variable represent and how this variable is analyzed or collected.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are moving further, some very basic math again, but here the only difference is, see what I mentioned here. Anyone understand what does it mean? Maybe I should ask the question, that's easier. So I don't see the name, that's the problem. Priya? Priya?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
So here in the line number 79, for example, if I write mean DAT $AGE, what does this line may represent? Any idea?
It gives the mean of the age. Sure.
Age, yeah, but then if I write like date, DAT and dollar, and then I write age, do you have any idea why it's written like this?
No, doctor.
Basically, you remember, you look at your data. So in the data, you have multiple variable, and age is one of the variable within the data. Okay, so the dollar sign is actually just to show, for example, date is the name of file, and this file contains 67 different variable. So what I'm showing that DAT calculate the mean for what? For the age, that is the age variable or age column, and age column, where it is written, this age column is written down in the file called DAT. You got my point now?
Oh, yes.
So this is the way how we define different column when we want to use in our analysis. So for example, if I ask you, you have to calculate mean for example, mean for a smoke number, then how you can define smoke number? Priya?
Yes, doctor.
How you can how you can calculate mean for smoke number?
Similar to what you written for the age.
So instead of
Dollar.
age, you just write
Just
smoke
type
number.
the smoke number.
Yeah, because smoke number is one of the column in our data set, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, doctor, I didn't get what the dollar sign for. Can you explain again?
I mean,
Excuse
that is
me,
the-
doctor.
Yeah, who is
Uh,
there?
Yeah, Al Ramzana.
Yeah, Al Ramzana.
If we represent smoke, it is having character no, yes, no, no. So the
No,
mean
I
will
said
give.
smoke number. I said smoke number. I didn't say smoke. I said
Okay.
smoke number. So there is
Okay,
another
okay.
variable. So first, there was two questions in the survey. First was
Okay.
if person is smoker or not smoker, and if it is smoker, then how many smoke per day? Right. So that's why it's a variable. It was a numerical variable. So now I'm just doing again some basic statistic like mean. I'm calculating the mean, standard deviation, median, quantile, interquantile, minimum. So the minimum age in our data set is 18 years. Maximum age is 82 years. So our data represent age from 18 to 82 years. Range. So the lowest range is 18 year and the highest is 82 year. And the difference between the maximum age and minimum age is 64 year. Summary. First 5 digit or table, like this is what is the beauty of this R. Like just with one click, you can do all these sort of calculation. You just need to upload your data to the R and you just need to know the function or write function and then just link this function with your table and execute it and it will give you result. And if I need to do the same thing in Excel, even this basic function, it is going to take a lot of time because your table is already quite big. You have to select multiple times these range and so on, and then you have to do this calculation multiple times. And if you forgot, like instead of cell X2, you write X3, your calculation is totally wrong. Okay, now I'm just doing something more. I'm just calculating this time mean for smoke number. And you see that if I calculated mean for smoke number, I just got NA. And why I got NA? Because I had some missing value in my data set. And when you have some missing value, you have to use string NARM is equals to true. Then it is actually going to give you the mean or calculation by removing these extra variable. Any questions so far? I know that you are actually busy on your own R screen, and I don't know if you are also looking at my R screen or this Zoom R screen, because you can't look at multiple time at a time, like multiple screen at a time.
Doctor,
So,
I have one question.
Yes, Dino.
I didn't get the last point because we have to find the mean of smoke number, but it resulted in error, NA.
Yeah.
What is the reason exactly? I didn't get you.
So I said NARM is equals to true. So for
Yeah.
example, you collected a survey. Okay. So
Okay.
out of 100, like I shared this Excel sheet today,
Okay.
and out of total 35 participants, only 20 responded to the survey.
Okay, fine.
And for 15, there is a missing data.
Okay, fine. I got it. Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay, hope everyone is at line number 100. I will just give a 2-minute break here so that everyone can reach until line number 100.
Is it possible to also calculate the mode, like the modal value?
Just try with either Google this function and check it out if it works for you.
Okay,
Sure
well, I just tried typing mode or modal value and nothing appeared. So, okay, I'll Google it. Thank you.
You know, when I need to do something, what I will do, I will go to Google and I will ask, calculate mode in R. Yes, there is a function. So the syntax is actually get mode, GETMODE. It's not really mode, it's GETMODE, get mode.
I see. Thank you very much.
So it's that easy. You know, when I stuck, I just Google. Even I don't remember all these function myself, right? So whenever I need any function, I just ask Google, and Google always give me answer, and I just follow after that. Any other questions so far?
I actually tried to get the mode and couldn't manage to do it.
Couldn't manage to do it.
With the
Should I
get
try?
mode. I was trying to do it for the DAT $H, just so I could see the mean, the, you know, everything together, the mean, the median, and then the mode.
Yeah. So get
Yeah,
mode
that's
is
what
yeah. So basically, then what you have to do is just an extra suggestion. I have to look for its library. Maybe the get mode function is not built in like base R. We are going to discuss about the library later on. Maybe the get mode function work with particular library, and the name of library is dplyr, dplyr. So you have to actually install that library, and then it will work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is something like you later on you will understand. So we always should be aware that if you are running one particular function, what is the package required for that function? So we have to install that package first, and then this function will work for you.
Dr. Sunil,
Yeah,
from where I'll get the file data survey.csv?
you are still at the base place. I think I shared yesterday by email.
Okay, so I have to install it where my folder, where all my scripts are, right?
Yes, you have to download it. I mean, it's not installed. You can download that file.
I mean, I download it. Yeah, okay.
What about other? Everyone is fine? I just hear
Excuse me,
voice
Doctor,
from.
just simple question.
Yes, who is it?
This is me, Muzan. How did you link the data from the Excel to the R? How did you link the data?
Oh, it's in the line number 14. So in the line number 14, I mentioned read dot table. So this function is actually reading your data in the R. And then I mentioned header true, because each of the column has its own heading. Then I mentioned separator comma, because it's a CSV, it's comma separated file. If you have some other file, you have to change the separator. Then I said as is true, and then na.string. If there is na, still file shouldn't give any error. So all these things I mentioned right at the line number 14 and 15.
Is there a way where we can do it from like file option or something like this?
Like as you like window-based import, right?
Yes.
Not really. You have to import. You have to put this kind of command. But one thing you can do, you can copy first of all, like you select the whole table in Excel sheet, you copy it, and then there is an option called clipboard in the R, and you can use this clipboard option. You can use this clipboard option to import the file in R. But I won't recommend that one, because there might be sometime if you are not selecting data properly, you might get error later on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it seems some are still quite behind, since I already said yesterday that it's very important that you download the data and read the instruction file. So hopefully they will be with us in short time. Shema, are you able to follow me now?
Yes, doctor. I follow.
Okay, very good. So I'm moving further now. So now basically it's a help. So as whenever you need help for any particular function, you can always just write help and the name of function. And then on this right bottom window up here, this help will appear. And here you can see that what this argument represent. So you should always be aware about that, what this argument represent. So here it says X is an R object. Trim is just a value that you can put how much data you want to trim. NA/RM is a logical value indicating that value should be striped before computation, like before calculation, if there is any missing value or something. So all the information you can find directly in the help window. You can always write like help mean or question mark and mean. They all give the same function. Now there is quite a bit of text. I suggest all of you to read the text from 110 till 141. Okay, so read the text 110 till 141. Okay, Amal, are you at 140 line number?
Doctor, can you explain 129 more, please?
129.
Yes, please.
One to nine is empty line. I don't know what does it mean here. It's empty line actually. You said 1 to 9. 1 to 9 or 1 to 9? I mean 129.
Yeah, in my script it's showing 129. Sorry, maybe it's missed. I don't know.
Doctor, it's 130 in your script, but in us it's 129. So she's asking about 130.
So it's actually note. It's actually note, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what's the question here? You have to tell me the question, then I can explain you here. It's basically not for you to read. So actually what I wrote here, since all of you are quite beginner, right? So many of these technical terms you may not find easy to understand at the moment. But with the time, with the practice, definitely you can understand each and every function. But right now, this help is quite, this mean is quite having like only 3 arguments. But if you read a particular command, you will find that, okay, if I just write plot, I just mentioned plot, and then I just, oh, it's not coming here. Okay, if I just write bar plot, you see this bar plot has like how many arguments? It has lot of arguments, and it will take long time to read and a lot of time to understand. But with the time, with the practice, you will understand all these arguments. But for now, for the time being, I'm just giving you idea that this is the way how you can understand or how you can identify what are the other option in this particular command. But for example, even if I just wrote like a bar plot, there is almost 50 options you can choose from. Like for example, if you want to make a bar plot, vertical, horizontal, small bar, big bar, thick bar, or thin bar, or a different color. So for that, for each purpose, you have to give a proper argument. Okay, so should I move further now?
Yes, it's clear. So basically what it's telling us here that when you write help for anything, it will give us this description with all these things.
Yes. So on the right side, a lot of description will appear, but sometimes you may not understand at this stage. And of course, we can't discuss in this class right now because it is going to come, because I cannot explain you about like each and every argument here. Right now, I'm just trying to give you some of the key command. And then of course, later on, you should read all these description by yourself and try to understand how you can use it for your own purpose.
The usage here, Doctor, means all the codes that we could use to create any data we want. Like for example, we choose the usage codes or the commands to make any thing we want.
Yes, of course. This is just kind of a basic script, right? Depending on, I will share one assignment today, and I just give you Excel file. Now I created some question, and you have to modify this code according to the requirement, and you have to answer the question from the assignment. So you just modify the code depending on the requirement. Okay, then I suggest that you should move from line number 140 and then finish until line number, I believe, line number 180. Okay, line number 140 to line number 180. Everyone should be there. And if you don't understand, you can ask me the question.
I have a question, Doctor.
Yes, Teman.
Regarding line 160 and 176.
160.
Yes.
I always have 160 as empty. Maybe I created one extra.
It's
line.
161 on your screen. I can see it's 161.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
How is it different from 157? Like there's an additional term of 0.05.
Yes.
As the third variable. So please, can you explain this?
Yes. So here what we said, like, okay, first of all, NARM true means missing value is fine, still do calculation. And for what they want calculation? For the variable smoke number. And then actually here, what they are trying to do is actually they are trying to trim the data. I will just give you help here. So you look at this help window. Are you looking here, Teman?
Yes.
So here is the trim value.
Okay.
So basically, we are saying that you R can trim the value which is outside that particular range. So it's basically one more argument we just added. So again, when you do some different function, you check these different argument, and there you can read the description, what this description is for, and how we can use that particular function for yourself.
Okay, and there is one more 176. I guess 177 for you.
176. Yeah,
177.
Okay, I changed now. Okay, now 176. Yes.
It gives NA as an answer.
Yes, it doesn't give one answer for smoke number, right?
Yes.
And why it is not giving you answer?
Because certain are missing, that's why.
Exactly. For age, it is giving calculation because in age, you're not having any missing data. But on the smoke number, you are actually having some missing data. That's why it is not giving answer for the smoke number.
Okay. There's one more line, 205.
I think we are still not there yet, right?
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I can wait.
I mean, if you want, you can continue, but better for now, we are just working until line number, I forgot even.
180.
180, yes, 180.
Okay, I will wait. Thank you.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
some are still slower, so I should wait for them. Yeah.
So now, what is line 75 summary that? Okay, everything is showing, but I can't read the summary. So is this okay or what?
What does it mean?
Line number 75.
75, yeah.
Summary that. I get the data, okay?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand anything.
Oh, I mean, this is just a value, like, okay, for example, look at the data. I mean, this is simple calculation of your data, or simple description of your data.
I
So
mean,
in case of age, the minimum value is 18 year. The first quartile is 26 year. The median is actually 36 year. Mean is 37.5. Third quartile is 47, and maximum age is 42. Basically, with one command, you're getting all these information for all the column.
Okay, so can I is there more summary to be added to this thing, or based on what? Is it always minimum first quarter, median, mean, third quarter?
Yeah, this is the function, right? So whatever is coded within this function summary, the summary is a function where have some coding. So whatever the programmer has coded within this function summary, that is what you can see here.
Because I just noticed the age is different than the sex, different than marital. So
Yeah, but as I mentioned, if you have read the description of the data set, I already mentioned that the age is actually numerical category because you have an age in the numbers. But I mean, in case of children, it's not really number, it's actually yes and no answer.
Oh,
In
okay,
case of marital, it's again a factorial answer. Education, again, it's a factorial answer. So that's why it's important to read the data description beforehand.
So the program would, and if it is number, the program would sort it in some way. If it is character, it will sort it in a different way.
Yes, of course. That's what I mentioned to previously. We should be very much aware about our data first of all before we move
Okay,
forward.
what is the first QU, and third QU?
Okay, that actually I think you should answer now because
It
that
is on
is
the data. It is on the data. I mean.
Taman, can you answer first QU or third QU now for her? Taman?
I don't know, maybe related to something statistics, quartile 1 and quartile 2.
First quartile, third quartile.
Yeah, third quarter, first quarter, okay.
Yes, that is what it is. First quartile or third quartile.
Because I didn't find any, they don't talk about the quarters at all. And
This is what it says. The first quarter and mean is always second quarter, and then 75% of the data is actually third quarter.
Okay, so I think, yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so where we were? Yeah, we should be at line number 180.
Doctor, 181 is for the next session or this session?
No, right now.
Okay, so I have a question about 181. When I click the command, it gives me true, false, true, false. It's comparing it with which variable?
It's comparing to the age variable. So basically you are asking the R, okay, you already have a data for 437 people. Okay, you already have a data. Now you are asking a question, how many people have age more than 30 years?
Okay.
So true means yes and false means no. So basically it's the way how you are asking the question to R and it is giving you answer. Okay, so now I recommend all of you to move further, move from 180 till 200 or 201. 180 to 201. And let me know if you don't understand anything. I can answer. But I just hear voice of only 3-4 people in the class. What about others? It seems like for others it's pin drop silence here.
Doctor, can you explain line number 186?
Okay, yes. So what is the question here?
Wait. That is round.
You-
What does that round? What does it means?
Round, what does it mean? So for example, if you just run mean, the answer is 64.36782.
Okay. Yeah.
Then
So
I
we are
asked,
rounding.
yeah, so I just asked
Yeah.
her, okay, round only for 2 digit, because this digit doesn't make sense for you. So then you just want to have your data rounded only for 2
Okay.
digits.
Okay. Okay, doctor. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, so I hope everyone is able to follow until line number 200. So that is one reason, why when we do this kind of courses, we try to share the script, because some can even finish. And now if I go like one by one, it is really going very slow. And even though I don't think we will be able to finish even this script by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So it will be actually basically you will be getting less material at the end through this workshop.
It's true, doctor, but we are actually learning. We know exactly what's meant by.
No, it's okay for me. It's fine. I'm okay with both the way how you want. It's okay for me.
Thank you.
Okay, so should I move further now?
Sir, can we remove permanently the NA, the not available values?
You want to remove permanently from your data, you mean?
Yeah.
See, first of all, it depends on your question. See, if you are doing a survey, and in survey, okay, 5 people didn't answer a particular question, which means randomly you are not allowed to remove that data. Because when you collect a data in a survey, ethically, we are not allowed to remove the data from the survey. If they haven't responded to your survey, of course, you just mention in your analysis that it was not given the answer is not given for that particular question or something like that. You got my point. So ethically, I'm talking about data modification or something like that. You're not allowed. But in just like for analysis point of view, yes, you can do that. You just go to your Excel file and just remove the NA and like this missing value. But if you're having one missing column or one column with one missing value, your R will give you error. Either you have to tell R that NA RM is equals to true, or otherwise it will give you error during the calculation.
So is there ways to replace the missing values by some average or something like that?
Again, see, for example, if it is a part of your research work and you collected some survey data, okay, and in your survey you have 10 questions and I responded to your survey, but I didn't answer 2 questions, but I answered 8 questions. Likewise, for example, Ali didn't answer 4 questions, but he answered another 2 questions which I didn't answer, right? So do you think that in your analysis, will it make sense that you want to remove my whole data now?
Maybe for the survey it is not.
Yes, for survey it is not. And now your question, maybe I understand your question is maybe if you have numerical data.
Yes.
I know that this has been practiced multiple places that, okay, you can calculate mean for one variable and you just replace, or, I mean, again, this is not ethically correct. I won't say that it's someone who should follow. If it is absent, I will say absent. That's how I will do. Again, if you want to make mean of whole column or something like that, you can do that, but you know that that's not correct value.
Fine.
Doctor, in SPSS, you have an option, I think, like where you put missing numbers as equal to 0. So that's why when you are calculating anything.
Yes, this is totally wrong. Actually, missing number is missing number. You can't put 0 because, for example, consider an example. Take average of 2, 3, 0, and 4. What is the answer? Take average of 2. Okay, sorry, it's easier. Take average of 2, 4, 6, and 0. What is the answer? You have 4 observation, 2, 4, 6, and 0. What will be the average?
0.
0. Why it will be 0?
6.
It's 12 divided by 4, isn't it?
Yes, sorry.
So 12 divided by 4, your average will become 3. And now you consider that 0 is actually a missing value. Now 2, 4, 6, and 0 is actually missing value. And now calculate your average. Your average is 4. So basically you have calculated a totally wrong value now. You got my point?
Yes.
So replacing missing value with 0 is totally wrong as per statistic. Okay, I hope everything is doing fine, since I don't hear voice from many others here yet. So I think now we can move further. And now we are doing some interesting stuff here. Okay, so this is okay. Now I'm talking about line number 211, and everyone should pay some attention here. Line number 211. Anyone understand what we are doing in line number 211? It's very important and interesting command.
So out of the smokers who said, out of the people who smoke, how many they smoke?
So basically you are doing subsetting of your data. This is called as subsetting of your data. So you have a big data table, and now you are trying to subset your data into small section. So what is your question? You want to select only those data who are positive for smoke or who are actually smoking, and then you just wanted to retrieve the data related to smoke number for those people who are smoking. So this is what you are doing. This is called as subsetting of your data. So the command is, you define the table, then smoke, and you know, in the data sheet the answer is given either in the yes or in the no format. So if it is yes, I just copied the yes here. This yes is not a command again. If you have looked carefully at the data which I shared with you, the answer for the smoke was either yes or no. So that's why I wrote yes here. And then I ask R, select only one column, that is smoke number. And then I'm now only calculating mean for smoker, which means the mean for people who are positive for smoke, they have 71 mean. Isn't it interesting command that you can subset your data just in like one click? Of course, in Excel you do filtering, but here it's quite easy. Just one click, all the data is being subsetted.
Doctor, what does drop equal to true mean here?
Exactly. So for that, you press F1. And then you read the description here, F1, and then read the description. What does this drop means? Basically, drop means here that, okay, you are subsetting this data. If they are saying yes, and then you are selecting only smoke number, and remaining data you are dropping out.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
And now go to line number 216. This is even interesting command now. So in this command, what we are doing in line number 216. So again, what we are doing, that dot smoke number, and then within this smoke number, we are selecting the people who are positive for the smoke, which means who are smoker. And now we are actually combining with another function called end. And the people who have age more than 30. So the earlier we considered all the people, we considered mean for all the data for the smoker positive. But now we are only subsetting the data or only selecting the data where age is less than, no, sorry, greater than or equal to 30. And then you are calculating mean. So you see that mean is changed.
So the numbers, what they are represent, like the ID for this person who is smoking and age 30, above age 30.
Sorry, ID, you mean what?
No, ID. I mean the sequence and the data set. Like, for example, in the first row, the first column, number 2, it represents the second person in the list who is a smoker and greater than 30 years old. What does number 2 represent here?
Yes, for that you should be aware about the data description. As I mentioned to you, that if you read in the PDF file, it says there was a question that if they are smoke positive, how many smoke they are consuming every day.
Yes, okay.
So that is this data represent here. For example, in this survey, some people said, yes, I'm smoke positive, but I didn't mention, I don't want to mention in your answer that how many smoke I'm taking every day. I don't want to answer that, right? So it's up to the up to the people, the one to whom you are surveying. They don't want to answer. They just answer yes, smoke positive, but they didn't answer how many smoke per day. So that's why you have this missing value here.
Okay.
And the same data you can also calculate in another way, like as we did previously, subset, data, smoke, and now you see interesting, it's double equal, not single equal, it's double equal. So this is a particular way of defining that, okay, select yes. So here you have to always mention double equal. If you just write one equal, you will get error. So you didn't get error, but you got wrong answer actually. So double equal is the way how you will be doing this one. Okay, I hope everything is moving smoothly for everyone now until line number 221. Hidayah? Hidayah, can you hear me?
Yes, doctor, I'm following, I'm following.
Okay, so I have a question to you now.
Okay.
What is vector and what is factor?
Vector and?
What is vector and what is factor?
Oh, I'm not sure, doctor.
Okay, Betty, can you answer? What is vector or what is factor?
Hello, yes, doctor.
What is vector or what is factor?
Yes, doctor. Here it shows like it's like the numerical things are termed as vectors, and the other like characters and all it shows in factors. Like the factors will be in a qualitative. Shows in a qualitative.
Yes, exactly. So for example, you know, when we collect our data for any of the field, maybe you are in biology, chemistry, physics, or mathematics, when we collect data, data is actually of two types. The first is quantitative data, which means you have a numbers. Okay, so number could be 0 or number could be millions, or number could be in full integer, or it could be like in decimal and so on, right? For example, 45 or 20.19 or 0.01 or whatever. So all these things where you have a quantitative or numerical data is called as vector. And this is very important to be aware about your data, because analysis for the vector works in a different way and analysis for the factor works in different way. Same test cannot be applied if your data is factor or if your data is vector. For example, another data could be that, okay, I collected a data that in this course, how many are male or how many are female. What I mentioned, okay, I mentioned in the column sex, and then I asked this survey to all of you, then you responded, okay, female. Ali mentioned male, Priya mentioned female, and so on. So now again, I have this categorical data now. But at the same time, I had another question. I asked for the age. Then every one of you responded your age. Okay, I'm 20 year, I'm 21 year, 22 year, and so on. Right? So that is actually a vector value or numerical or quantitative data. Why we should be aware about these things? Because statistical analysis or statistical tests are different for factor-based data or vector-based data. For example, if you want to do a linear regression, you can't do for factor-based data. For linear regression, you need to have both vector-based data. For example, vector-based data could be, okay, in one question, I asked the age for all the class participants, and in another question, I asked the height of each of the class participants. And my question was, is there any relationship between age of the class participant and their height? And then I can do one test. But then my another question was, how much is the age, or sorry, how much is the height for the females and how much is the height for the male? For that, I have to do another test. You got my point now?
So it's like binary, binary for factor.
No, not binary. Again, binary is not correct.
Categorical, sorry, categorical.
Yeah, categorical.
Factors.
Because, okay, I just gave you simple example. Okay, my another in one of my data, I collected a different site. Okay, 100 site I collected. So the name of first site is Abu Dhabi, second site is Ras Al Khaimah, third site is Fujairah, fourth is Dubai, fifth is Align, and so on. So I might have 100 site. That can also be a qualitative or categorical data. I can have a different sample type. maybe I have a soil, I have a plant, I have an animal, or different type of factor or different type of sample. That is another type of qualitative or factor based data. It's not always yes and no. It's like whenever you have a character in your data, is called as qualitative or categorical data. I don't want to say character because sometimes if you don't enter your proper data in Excel, even number can also be visualized as a character as well. So the proper term is the factor or categorical data. Yes, question?
Dr. Sanel?
Yeah.
Just, line 206. And now, yeah. So now you want to know what kind of participants smoke, right? So you use data, but data هذا smoke, yes. But this line, the 206, I didn't understand what did you do? Why did you okay, you displayed the data, right?
Yes, I just what I mentioned in the first line in 205, I just asked like if a particular person is doing smoke or not.
Yeah.
In second line, I just asked, okay, if they are doing smoke, first of all, select those data where people are doing smoke and show me how many smoke number they are consuming. So for example, totally you had 432 data or 35 data set or 35 sample, right?
Yeah.
But only smoker are 91, 92 and 93. So total 93 are the only smoker. And now I just want to show out of this smoker, how individual, like how many smoke a per person is doing.
Yes, I got it. But like when I go through the data, the 205, the row 205, the data of row 205 is like clear, because like 1, 2, 3, like, could you please explain what is 1, 15, 29, 43?
Where is that?
You know, when you enter the 205 line, and then you get false, true, false, false, false.
Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah. So like, okay, I understand the false and true, but what is 1, 15, 29, 43? What is that? The rows?
What is 115? You mean this number on the these brackets?
No. Like, could you please write that the line 205 and on the command? Well, I don't know what is
open. It's open with me. You look at my.
Yeah. Okay. So what is 1, 10, 19?
Oh, this is the number of variable, like your number or number of row, for example. So the number of row is 1, 10, or so on. Here it's 1 is false, second is true, third is false, fourth is false, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and then 10th is again false.
Okay, I want why my rows are different than yours. I get 1, 15, 29, and you get 1, 10.
It depends on the data. You are actually doing this next command. That's why.
No. I'm doing the true false command.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing the true false command, but I got 1, 15, not 1, 10. 1, 15, 29.
It could be just, I mean, it is nothing to worry, because it could be how you are actually checking your console size and so on. Because for example, here depends on how many variable R can show at a time.
Oh yeah, okay, I got it.
So it's just like the visualization of the R.
Okay, so like I understood from the data now, and row number 1 is like every column is participant number 1, the second column participant number 2. Is it like that?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
But only when you run this command at 205, but not when you run the command at 206. Keep it in mind.
What is 205, 206?
Again,
okay, the line, sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Because 206, you already subsetted your data. That's why it will
Yeah,
not
yeah.
correlate exactly with your data.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are running with the time. Now we have to move further. And now actually we are doing some more interesting stuff. Grab command. Maybe some of you know what is this grab command means. At least we have some bioinformatician in the class who can tell what this grab command means.
Yes, doctor. Grep command is actually used to search for the string of certain characters in that file. Like
In that
here,
particular data or in any
yeah,
kind of file.
yeah.
So basically the grep is a common command which is being used in like Python, in C, or in many other language, I believe. And simultaneously, we also use this grab command in R. So what this is doing, actually, you know, in your data, first of all, look at your data. Okay. In my data, maybe in one column in the sex, I have either written down male MALE and female FEMALE. And I just want to select only male. Then I can just write date, that is the name of file, grep, grab. What do you want to grab? MALE. Okay. And then data will be selected for all those male. Likewise here, again, LOTR is actually a variable. Maybe some of you will ask me what this LOTR mean. For that answer is, again, read the PDF file that I have given the instruction what this LOTR mean. It's a variable which is collected by the authors. So what it is doing, it is grabbing only those column. Name means column. Okay, name always represent to the column. So this command, in this command, we are grabbing only those data out of the file DAT where they contain string LOTR. And we have following variable or following column, LOTR1, LOTR2, LOTR3, 4, 5, and 6. And that is what it is showing here now. So it is grabbing the LOTR from the name variable. Name means the heading of your column. Okay, you can also write like this way. If you just write name, date, it will show you heading. So name means heading. So we are asking, look at the heading of the column, select LOTR, and show me what is the variable or what is the column which are having word LOTR. Hope it is clear for everyone now.
It's clear, doctor.
Okay, very good. Now I want someone to explain me line number 233. Hala, are you there? Hala? Hala, are you there? Nahid? Nahid, are you there?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Can you try to explain me the command which is at line 233? Don't worry, if something will be wrong, I will be here to help you.
I'm not really sure, doctor.
Okay. Anyone who can give me some explanation for line 233? Because this is the way I can understand. Okay, now some are able to make sense of this command by themselves, what this command is doing actually here. Anyone?
Yes, doctor. This command is actually giving the sum of rows in which where we have this string mastery. I think.
variable or which column, column with
Yeah.
LOTR.
Yeah. Or next.
Yes. So for example, like this one, right?
Yes, all the rows that contain this.
Yeah. So what it is doing actually? So you said it's summing up 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, I think so. I may
Yeah.
be wrong.
No, you are right. And then what else it is doing? The last part. You haven't defined what it is doing here.
Then it's storing this information to this variable.
New variable.
To new variable, yeah.
And the new variable is LOTR.
Yeah.
Exactly. So basically what we are doing here, actually we have six different variable in our data, which are named not variable, I will say the column heading, which are named as LOTR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we are making a command in which we want to make sum of only these 6 column. Okay, what these 6 column? Like LOTR1, LOTR2. So we are making sum of all these different column for individual row, and that is what it is doing, and then transferring this data into another variable, that is LOTR. And now if you look here, you got a new column, that is LOTR. And if you remember your previous data, this column was not there. Okay, so this column was not there, but now you created a new column within your data file. I mean, not in your raw data, which is stored on computer, but right now this column is created within the R environment. Okay, we are going to export this data back to the back to your computer later on.
I hope. Sorry. Sorry. Go
Sorry?
ahead. I was just going to ask, we can do more than sum, right? We can do divide, we can do.
You can do whatever. I mean, this is just the way how you want. For example, I just want, it's only because if I will do some changes at the moment, I can do, like, I can just say mean. Maybe your interest was that you want to calculate mean of that particular variable, and you want to transfer that mean into another variable. And you can do that as well.
I see.
So R is very flexible. It's up to you what you want R to do for you. It is there to help you. And now I think it's quite easy that you can follow rest of the command by yourself. We are doing the similar thing. We are now summing up some other column like MES3, PSS, and RSES. Maybe some of you will still ask me the same question. What does they mean? Again, for that answer is the same. You should carefully read the PDF file which I shared you before. Because if I'm gonna to explain you each of these variable, the whole class will finish for me. That's why I already shared this, the PDF file yesterday. So I was expecting that all of you are going to print, and all of you are going to read those details by yourself before the class, and that was my expectation. Okay, I hope everyone is able to follow me now. And now what we are doing, this is another way. Like, again, you can do it in this way. You don't have to write this small code. Like, you can also say like that dollar $PNAS1, that dollar $PNAS4, and so on. So what we are doing, we are saying make sum of this and all these different variable and put it into another variable. And now I hope if you look into your head, you will see that a new column is created. LOTR, MASTERY, PSS, RSES, and POSAFF. So these are the new column which we created just now. simultaneously. You can do it for multiple things. You can do this different calculation, and you can put it into another variable, because sometimes you need to do this small functioning by yourself. So now this time we are doing with another command called with, WITH. So we just change the command, but the function is same still. So now if you are writing with, so what you are saying, with date file or the data set date, do this function. So this time you don't have to write this $ multiple times, DAT dollar, DAT dollar. You don't have to write this multiple times. And maybe like if you write like DAT dollar, it will show you all the variable within this particular file. Can you look at my screen at the moment, just for a while? It's interesting command. Maybe I should have defined this previously. If you just write date, that is the name of my data, and then I put $, and then you can see all the information present within the file date is actually shown to you. You don't have to remember. And now I'm just saying, okay, LOTR, and then again date $. Maybe this time I have and then just after write $ and put a tab button, then you will get another source. So all the detail I can get immediately. If I forgot the name or if I forgot the exact spelling, because R is case sensitive. Okay, so if you write like some mistake in the spelling, you will get error always. Now I am at line number 266. And now maybe Ali can answer what it is doing. Line number 266. Ali?
Let me try it, Doctor, 1 second.
You can look at my screen.
Okay. This is the edited version, so you're making another version of this file.
Yeah, I mean, you can even do the same file, but what I'm saying that write table. Okay, this is the function, write dot table. To whom you want to write? The data set called DAT, where you already added some new column. And then file is equals to, what is the name you want to give? Maybe I want to give my name, Sunil. So I just mentioned my name here. Whatever name you want to give to your file, you can give it to that. Then I just mentioned data underscore survey underscore edit dot CSV. Then I mentioned raw dot name false, because I don't have any name on the raw. And separator, comma, because it's a CSV file, and NA is equals to true, because NA is equals to, actually this time I'm saying I'm not putting anything. So it's this time I'm removing all the data where there is NA. You can, sometimes you can even work. For example, if I want to run the same command, I don't even have to define all these details. It's up to you how much data you want to define. If I write like this, the still function will work. I just write dot table DAT and file name. Still it will work. And your file is now saved in the same folder where you put your R script. Check that out. Hope everyone is having a new file now.
Yes, I just checked. I have this file.
Okay, you just can give your name. So it will be, you can easily identify the file. You just write Ali or something, then you will get your name with the file. And now rest you can do by yourself. It's just like, again, I'm just importing this newly created file actually. Okay, so you can just read dot table and you can put the name of your file and it will be uploaded. So I think now we are done with script number 4, and I'm sure that many of you are still working on. So keep working on. I'm still here. Don't worry. Those who finish, for them, I will give some task just in a minute. I'm just preparing the task. But those who haven't finished, continue with the script. I'm here to help you.
I have a question, Doctor. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but I think doctor is not here.
Okay.
So how many of you have finished now the exercise or script? 2, or they are just raising the hand, or Taman?
Yes, Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah.
In the metadata PDF file, there are certain items that have written like items need to be reverse code.
Yeah.
Like if we have to score like from 1 to 5, like what does it mean to be reverse code?
Okay. Yes, I should explain you. Just a moment.
Sure. Thank you.
You know what happens? Sometime we gather the data in different format. For example, okay, you have to evaluate this course. Then the question is whether how did you rate the course? Best or good, or bad or worse. So you have two category on the positive side and two category on the negative side. You got my point?
Yes.
So this type of data may be generated at some time point. And for that kind of data, we again need to do some planning before the analysis. You can't directly use the same method for analysis, like of course it's a categorical data, but you know that here you have both negative value data and positive value data as well.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So was that your question? What does this kind of data represent, right?
No, it's written that you need to write these data in the reverse order, like items 4, 5, or whatever numbers need to be reverse code. That I need to get cleared.
Just a moment. This PANAS, right?
There are written in
Or
various
it's
variables. Like
stress
in the
scale?
first one, a life orientation test revised in the first variable. I can see in the metadata PDF file, there is written that items 2, 4, and 5 need to be reverse code.
2, 4, 5. So here if it says 2, if something can go wrong for me, it will, and then 4, I hardly ever expect things to go my way. And 5, it says I rarely count on good things happening to me. So basically, when you are calculating this number, you can actually calculate it in opposite way. For example, if you look at the data sheet, I'm just opening the data sheet right away. Okay, I think I still have to understand this myself as well, since this data is from the developer. So I still have to understand even this data myself as well. A good question. Actually, I haven't read this one before.
Okay, thank you.
So good that you pointed out. So I will read that later today, and I can respond you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any other question? I think there was one more hand. Yes, any question? Okay, if there is no question, then we'll just create some exercise. Mhm. Okay. Here is the- Okay, so those of you who have finished the script, they can go for the assignment number 1. Initially, my plan was that we will finish 2 script, but I don't think we can manage to finish 2 script. We just finish only 1. So you have to just continue with assignment number 1. So I shared you a data table that is in Excel format, and some instruction I have given you in this another Word file called assignment instruction. Something is wrong with my Word. It's not opening. Maybe, yeah, fine. It is there. So now I sent you the data table and assignment instruction, and you have to continue the assignment number 1. I have given the raw data from the Excel file, and now you have to change the way you like the file, the way it is required in the R, and then you have to answer these 4 questions. Sorry, 3 questions. And you have to make your own script to answer these 3 questions. And for this first assignment, you can actually use this current script. And for assignment number 2, you're going to use the script which we are going to run next week. And those of you who have finished this script, they have to respond on the Excel sheet. And when you finish your assignment number 1, then again you have to respond on your Excel sheet, so that I'm aware that how many of you have completed the script number this 4 as well as assignment number 1. So keep updating yourself via this shared Excel file if you finish with the script and if you finish with assignment number 1. But those of you who are still continuing the assignment, keep continue on that.
Dr. I'm trying to import the assignment 1. I tried to do the same thing with the same command you gave us at the beginning of script 4.
Yes, I told you, I'm giving you the Excel file. You have to convert the file as per the requirement of the R, first of all. So you check whether the format of your file and the format which is written in the script is correct or not. And you have to do that by yourself.
Okay, okay. That's part
Because,
of the
you
assignment.
know, yeah, I gave it intentionally because, you know, most of us actually gather the data in the Excel file, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
But sometimes it is quite difficult to upload the Excel file directly with the R. Then we convert it into different format, and that you have to do by yourself now.
Okay, Doctor. Okay, thank you.
Aisha, are you able to follow the script now?
Hello. Yes, I'm following.
So where are you at the moment?
And step 252.
232.
No, 252.
252. Okay, continue. So any question? Because I haven't heard anything from you so far.
No, like when I have questions, I Google it.
Okay, very good. So that's good. At least you are going with your pace. Fatima, are you there? Anyone who have started with assignment? I know Ali. Anyone else? Anyone else who have started with assignment?
I have started, Doctor. This is Nahad.
Okay, it's just to know if there's any question or if you didn't understand anything. So I still can explain to everyone here. That's why. Okay, it seems quite a pin drop silence. Maybe everyone is quite busy with their exercise and with their R script. I think it's good. You keep continue, and of course, if you still have any doubt or any question, we are going to meet next week. Since initially my plan was that we should be able to finish 2 script, but as with this new setting, we went like little slower. But next week we are going to do quite a bit of plotting, data plotting. So that will be something interesting because you are going to look at the data graphically, not at the numbers and so on, but more like as a graphics. So hope you will enjoy more with the graphics. So make sure that you attend the third session as well. And once you attend the third session, then hopefully you will get little more understanding about installation of packages, how to use this data for the plotting and so on. And that is what we are going to cover in the next week. Or not next week, yeah, next
Excuse me,
week.
doctor.
Yes, Simon.
When we enter the command read table, so we have to input like the 4 elements, or we can only write the file name only, like the assignment data set.
Are you trying to import directly Excel file?
Yes, like what you have done in this script, I am copying that. Like
Yeah, that's what I mean.
DAT.
Now for the assignment, you have to think little bit. The same question was from the Ali as well.
I converted it actually to CSV. Now my
You can?
question is after that.
Sorry?
I converted it from Excel to CSV online.
You converted, okay. And then?
Yes. Now I try to write like the read table, and in the bracket, like instead of 4 elements, I only wrote the name of the file, like assignment data set.
Yeah, assignment or whatever name you have given, like assignment.csv, right?
Yes.
Then header you have to always mention.
Okay.
Because
So
there is a
these-
heading for each of the column, right?
Okay.
And then separator you should always mention.
Okay.
Because if you don't mention separator, R doesn't understand like how this file is. Just writing .csv is just in the inverted comma is just the name of file, but R don't understand how your data is formatted. You have to define it to the R. So separator is important.
Okay.
This you can remove as .is, you can remove na.string, you can remove, because here I don't have any missing data. So these extra thing you can remove definitely if you want to.
Thank you.
Let me know if it works.
So I have done it. Like, how can I know that it is like imported into R? How can I know
Just
that?
what variable you put, like DAT or something else?
DAT.
Yeah, just write DAT or just write structured DAT, you will see.
Yeah, done. Thank you.
So how many row, how many column you have?
I guess rows are 120.
Yes, very good. 120 exactly.
And let me check with the columns.
If you write structure right on the start, you will get this information.
Okay. STR.
STR and in the
then
small
the
brackets.
name of
DAT.
variable.
Yeah.
Like 120 observations in 7 variables.
Very good. So exactly that is what it this data is for. And how many factor and how many vector?
Code vegetation zone. You mean that?
Yeah, I mean that you should define to me. I know already, but I am just asking
Okay.
questions.
So is there any like the number, like instead in place of vector, there should be like any number, like this number of vectors and
You
this
know, for example, if you just write structure, then here you can look directly in my, if you look at my screen.
Yes.
So if it is a factor, then you will see it's written like as a character. If it is a numerical or vector, it will be written like as an integer. Okay, or number.
Okay.
So that's the way how we can identify.
Okay, so integer and number are included into the factors or
Factors. Sorry, vectors. VECTORS, vectors. Yeah.
okay. And the character is included in factors.
Yes, factors. Exactly.
Okay.
And I think now you're good to go, and now you can modify the script and try to bring answer for the question. Maybe next week we are going to discuss directly from you first. Okay, any other question before we stop the session for today? Okay, I think Metha, we are good to go. I think there is no further question. Maybe, I don't know if you are really following R, or maybe you got little bored with our discussion. I don't know.
Doctor?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we? The presentation was really nice, and like experience is good rather than like just doing it, Doctor, because they have the chance to practice it.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, right now we are passing through this critical situation that we can't do this like, one-to-one. I would really like to do that one-to-one. Then, I can even answer more quickly. I can respond to like many of the questions what student were having, and we can quickly follow each other. But with virtual, some are responding, then I know, okay, where they are, but many are still not responding, then I'm not sure where they are actually. So it's kind of a bit distance for me that I cannot understand what is going on with the class, with the participant.
Yes, Doctor, like some students ask for the link where we can see the recording. So I just put it in the chat. I will put it in the chat, the link for the YouTube channel of CGS. But it will be within few days, Doctor.
No,
Yeah.
my only concern is that you can share it anywhere. I don't have any problem with that. But the only concern is that here, we are doing more discussion. It's not really a presentation. It's not really like, we are doing one by one. You got my point?
Yes,
So even
Doctor.
you can put it anywhere, but I mean, if somebody will see, I don't think they can understand anything out of this presentation, video or recording. Because it's more like a my discussion with the student. When they have some question, they are asking me, we are trying to go through it. I mean, again, you can put, I don't mind, but I don't think
Yes,
they will
Doctor.
really make any sense.
Yes, Doctor. I think like the ones who is already attending, because they can revise it, I guess.
They can do that.
Yeah.
Yes, for them it's fine, but not for others.
Yes.
This is my just thinking. If you want to put it, still I don't have any objection for that. You can put it in your CGS channel or wherever you want.
Okay, Doctor. I will. Normally, like normally when we do workshops, we put the videos in the YouTube link. Yeah, but
if you have only like a presentation kind of thing, then it's easier because it's a presentation, someone can understand. But here I'm not really doing any presentation. It's more like a hands-on workshop. So it's a little different compared to the regular presentation, I believe.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so keep updating me via shared Excel sheet whenever you finish your script and whenever you finish your assignment number, this assignment, particularly assignment number 1. So keep updating there so I can understand where you all are actually. And then we'll discuss the new script next week on Sunday evening at the same time.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you everyone. See you all on Sunday.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for sparing your valuable time. See you next Sunday.
Yeah.